You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
This is Ashley Winch in Great Falls, Montana.
And I'm Kat Guenther from White Lake, Michigan, and you're listening to the Quarter Horse Podcast for June 16th, 2026. Good morning, Horse World.
Kat, I did it. I'm in Montana.
Oh, that's so exciting. Do you love it?
It's cold.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you near the mountains?
Yes, I can see the beautiful Cascade Mountains just out of our front window.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. I still have boxes absolutely everywhere. And like real talk, I was digging through boxes to find like my microphone and everything for today's recording. But we got it done. We got everything. And we're here. It was about a 20-hour total drive. We went from Albuquerque, but we broke it up because, you know, we have Levi and the dogs.
Yeah.
So we were never in the car longer than I think 4.5 hours was the longest stretch.
Oh, okay.
So it was very doable and nobody wanted to kill each other. So I'm going to say it was a great success. We went from Albuquerque to Durango, Colorado, Durango to Moab, Utah, which was stunning. We glamped there and it was...
Oh my gosh, I'm jealous.
It was incredible. Then we went from Moab to Salt Lake City to Pocatello, Idaho, which if you don't know, because I don't know anyone who would, is the city of smiles. And I'm just wondering what they have to smile about because I was just happy to get out of there.
Oh, it's like that's their slogan.
Yes.
The city of smiles.
But I don't know why they're smiling.
Probably because the name's kind of funny. I don't know. That's why I would smile.
I don't know. And then we went from Pocatello here to Great Falls, Montana. So we're just getting our, trying to get our feet under us. Zach started his muggle job today. Levi started school last week. I mean, it's just... It's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like you did like a little cross-country road trip.
Totally.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, and you're in a secret recording location as well.
Yeah, super secret. I'm in Canada right now, Leamington, Ontario. My family has a cottage out here, so
she's international.
I'm international. Oh yeah, just an hour over the bridge, but I'm international.
Well, we love it, and I'm glad you got out of Dodge for a little bit and taken a little vacation and. On a totally different subject.
Appraisals. We're talking about appraisals, people.
Appraisals. So many of our auditors, our Patreon listeners, heard a show last month on Horses in the Morning where Glenn and I sat down with Sandy in the post show. And we had so many folks write in because, first of all, Sandy's a delight. And second of all, how do you become an equine appraiser? What does that look like? What do they do all day? So because she is so involved in the quarter horse world, we invited her on and we said, hey, do you have maybe a client or someone you've worked with a lot so we can get both perspectives? And Kat, please tell everyone who she pulled out of her hat for us.
She brought on Brad Kearns, which if you're from the quarter horse world, you know that name.
We were like fangirling.
Yes.
We couldn't believe that we got Brad on the show. So thank you both, Sandy and Brad, for joining us today. It was a really cool conversation all about appraisals, who needs them, why you do them. I mean, everything you really want to know. So I think we should just kind of jump into it.
Let's do it.
This episode of the Quarter Horse Podcast is brought to you by Farnham and Endure Gold Killer Fly and Mosquito Control, a new fly spray for horses. Discover fly protection redefined with Endure Gold. Made to annihilate flies, ticks, and mosquitoes with the brand new EPA-approved ingredients never before seen in equine care, Endure Gold is backed by science and built for hard work, delivering fast knockdown and up to 14 days of fly protection. Add Endure Gold to your arsenal and upgrade your fly control rotation. Brad Kearns joined the SMU Mustangs as a Western coach in July 2021, bringing an elite pedigree as an AQHA World Champion and Reserve World Champion competitor in trail and Western pleasure. As an internationally respected carded judge, Kearns has previously officiated the prestigious AQHA World Champion Show and judged Kat herself.
Yes, he has. And we're also joined by Sandy Holt. She's from Aubrey, Texas, and she's a longtime Patreon listener, horse owner, competitor, and equine appraiser. She was recently on the post show, and so many of you wrote in wanting to learn more about her career. So, Sandy, how did you get into doing equine appraisals?
Well, that was a story that took place a long time ago when I was getting a divorce, and I had 21 lawn ornaments, pasture ponies, so to speak, and I wanted to keep them all. And so I had an appraisal come out to do appraisals so that it could be equalized in the divorce degree. And so the lady that came out didn't do such a great job, I didn't think. And I thought, you know what? I need to look into this. I need to help people that are going through this kind of thing, and I need to help them in a good way. So I looked into it and decided to take the course and do the route so that I could become an equine appraiser.
And just to clarify, when you say, you didn't feel she did a good job, she undervalued your horses, would you say? Or without, letting too much out, because I know it's a private matter.
Yes. Well, it's not that she didn't value them the way I expected her to. When I told her what they were worth, that's the value she put on them. So I was expecting her to do a little more due diligence and to go beyond what I thought they were worth. And she was pleasing me, which was wonderful. I hired her, but that's not the role of an appraiser. They need to be non-biased. They need to be non-preferential and do their job in an accurate way.
Interesting. And that does make a lot of sense. And then on today's podcast, we also are joined by an AQHA legend who is just so casually Sandy's friend. She's like, oh, well, yeah, sure. I know this guy. He can come on. Brad Kearns, welcome to the Quarter Horse podcast. How do you and Sandy know each other?
Well, thank you for having me. I hope I don't embarrass Sandy when I tell this story. So, I needed an appraisal done. I had moved to Texas to coach at SMU, and I needed an appraisal done for a horse that was some people wanted to donate. And so, I, contacted my friend Google and looked for certified equine appraisers in the area, and her name was on there. And so then I was like, oh, I don't know why, something in the universe drew me to her name. And so I contacted her, and I mean, you guys have talked to her before. I mean, she's just lovely. So when I contacted her on the phone, she was like, oh, this is where I live, and this is what I would charge you to come down and look at the horse, to travel, look at the horse, and my fees. And we went through all the, the things that I would need to know for the people that own the horse, to relate to them. This is the person, yada yada. And so, and we actually had the horse on trial at the time. And so at this point, I had never met her. And so then the day that she's coming to look at the horse, in walks this lady, and she looks like Tammy Wynette. I mean, just this beautiful lady with blonde hair. And I might be remembering wrong, but in my mind, she had on blue jeans and cowboy boots and a pink, button up shirt, and her hair and makeup were perfect. And, and she's like, hi, I'm Sandy. And I'm like, wait, like, she's this beautiful, beautiful lady. And and that's how we met. And then, she did the appraisal for us. And, to speak to Sandy's point earlier, I didn't know how the appraisals worked or anything. And it was so interesting to get to see her work because being a equine appraiser is like being a real estate agent. Like her paperwork contained all this research on the breeding, the siblings, the comparables of, just like you look up comparable in real estate of housing and pricing and things like that. She had all these comparable horses that had sold. There was just so much work that she had put in that, like, I thought her equine appraiser was going to be like she said, the lady that came out and did hers, like that she just came down and goes, "Oh, it's pretty, it's worth this." And there was so much work involved that I didn't really even know had happened. Um, and that's how I met her, and we started our friendship.
It sounds like there's a lot to it. I mean, Sandy, could you run us through just a brief overview of what an appraisal session looks like?
Oh, wow. Well, it's pretty intense and involved. I'm pretty serious about it as far as, there are several characteristics I look for in a horse, and them being their breeding, if if it's involved in horse showing, the show record, their potentiality as far as what they are available to be able to do, their fungibility as to their resale value. There are their temperament, their skill level, their their show record. There's several characteristics there that I need to look at. Their overall ability to connect with a person, their confirmation, and their trueness to the breed that I'm assessing. And so, I look at all of those, and then I go back home and I do the research on them. And I research their siblings, their pedigree totally, their dam and their sire. And then I do the research on what they've accomplished, their accolades and all their winnings and what have you. And then I compare them to horses of similar characteristics and similar time. And then I take it from there. And then of course I put in my personal feeling about the horse. And, AI cannot do that. So the humanistic part of it, and my experience involved, I put that in, and then I come up with a valuation of the horse.
It sounds very intense.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So one of my questions is, how much do the accomplishments play a role in the appraisal?
Well, it depends on what you're appraising it for, and very much so. If you're appraising it as a show horse, and if you're appraising it for resale value, and yes, their accomplishments can become very involved.
That really plays into my next question for you, Sandy. So we talked about appraisals for settlements. We've talked about appraisals for donations, which I assume that figure then the donor can write off on their taxes. Is that okay?
Yes.
And then we talked about for resale. What are other instances which someone would want to get their horse appraised?
Well, so as when you refer to settlements in litigation, there are times when horses have been deceased when I have to appraise them afterwards. And so, it comes to the case where we're looking to see what the horse's value was before they passed, and and having to deal with people's losses, and sentimental, and of course economically. Of course, there's the divorce, and there's the donation part of it, and then there's some people just like to know what their horse is valued at, just to know.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
if I want to get my horse insured and I am not a horse person, I am the mom or dad, and I'm just a civilian person that works, works in whatever my job may be, and my kid is showing, and I want to have it insured, and the trainer might tell me it's worth this or that, but the insurance company is going to want an evaluation, to justify if it's a large number or whatever, and so you're going to need possibly need an appraisal for that also. I'm sorry, Sandy, I didn't mean to jump in and
Oh, you're
um,
spot on, Brad. And I'd forgotten about insurance companies are one of my bigger clients. Yes.
and also when Sandy says like when I said earlier she's thorough, you think you're going to get a piece of paper that says a paragraph about this long that says I appraised it for this. No, when Sandy does an appraisal, you get a binder like a book that's on her on the rings, and it has I got a copy for me. The owner had a copy for them. I mean, it is such a professional, well done job. I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing the amount of work and detail that she puts into her work.
Well, thank you, Brad. I've got to I've got to hold this up in court and with the IRS. And so it's very important to me that I get all the nuts and bolts.
I know you have a lot of experience in the quarter horse world. Do you often find yourself appraising other breeds as well? And
Oh,
if,
yes.
okay, so with that, do you see different breeds appraising at, I don't want to say different, but I don't know, like a warm blood, they appraise like 10 grand higher all the time or something, a trend, I guess you're seeing in the different breeds in the appraisal process.
I do. I think that it depends on the time of the market. But right now, quarter horses are very, very high, trending very high. And I can explain why, I think, in a minute. But also, warm bloods and thoroughbreds are up there. And, it just depends on the time, the market. Uh, it's not uncommon for me to see, let's say, uh, Shire horses to be a little bit lower than a warm blood,
Sure.
and yet have the same characteristics as,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the breeds will follow suit in the different categories.
Interesting. And then, yeah, please circle back as to why the quarter horse is in such high demand. I mean, we all love them. We know they're
Yeah.
popular and they're the best kids in school.
Yeah. Of course. Well, it's crazy. I mean, the market is just absolutely insane right now when it comes to quarter horses, and there are several reasons. I think I've been following the trend for several years now, through auctions, through the breed associations. I don't know. Now you can tell me. Do you find that the breed has increased in membership in AQHA?
That's a really interesting question. We're not affiliated with AQHA directly. However, I would, if I had to guess, if I was a betting woman, I would say membership is up post COVID. And I'm just
No,
pulling, and
you're
I,
exactly
So,
you're
yeah.
exactly right. You're exactly right. So here's what happened when COVID hit, people suddenly started realizing how important it was to belong to community, to to have to have some sort of solidarity, and so in the beginning, 2020, we saw a decline, and which was everyone was fearful and not spending any money and not wanting to go out and do anything. But then suddenly in 2021, people start saying, wait, I'm missing out here. And COVID kind of brought about a feeling of we need we need community, we need friendship, we need solidarity. So people started starting belonging to um, organizations like AQHA. And then came Yellowstone. So here we go. People are starting to say, "Ooh, this is awesome. I want to be a part of this whole scene and this trend." So between COVID and Yellowstone, AQHA quarter horses started increasing in their sales, and then supply and demand. And then came the idea that, you know, parents wanted their kids to be involved in something. And so they would not put any boundaries on what they would spend to get their kids to be in an association like the Quarter Horse Association and to win. And so they started spending more and more money, and it just perpetuated. The breed, I think, really depends on how heavy the youth association is. And I believe that has really brought about a lot of good pricing in horses.
This is a question that kind of piggybacks on Ashley's, but do you see any disciplines or specific types of uses for horses where they're valued higher than others?
Yeah, I think that the reining and the cow horse events, again, Yellowstone brought about that a little bit, but also that they're paid events. And when you get a paid event, people start resonating with, okay, I will spend more money if I can get some income back. And then, of course, the breeding started increasing. The prices of the breeding started increasing. And Brad can tell you about that. I mean, he's a connoisseur when it comes to breeding and pedigree. And, the better the pedigree and the more successful the pedigree and their legacy, the more money they're going to spend.
Yeah, Sandy, I couldn't appreciate that tee-up anymore. Brad, I would love to hear your opinion on, I don't know, let's say top 3 overall bloodlines that really.
Oh, don't ask me that.
Okay.
I'm not really the bloodlines person. I'm really not. I mean, it's very important. But I don't follow the pedigrees quite as much, other
Okay.
than, if there's a horse by a horse that by a certain stallion,
Sure.
and I love that horse, then I pay attention to those. I think that, when you're purchasing the individual. And I think that the bloodlines are, they're very important, because if you have good breeding, your percentage of your chance of having a better athlete, it's like basketball. If you have a mother and a father that are both tall, then the chances of having a basketball player, if 2 basketball players have a child, chances of it being a basketball player much better.
Yes.
Same thing. Like, my mother killed the average for me, of course, because my dad's tall, but my mom's not. So I'm not. But like, if you have outstanding individuals, as a stallion and a mare, then you up the percentage chance of having great individuals. I mean, we saw that from, like, Zippo Pine Bar, and who still, like, is such a dominant force today through all the different lines that he produced, that then came down the pipe. But yeah, I don't follow the bloodlines nearly as much as I should.
Well, that brings up a good question, though. You are the head coach at SMU. Of your, I don't know, string of ponies, shall we say, are they all, heavily papered proven? Are some backyard bred? What's kind of the breakdown there, just out of curiosity?
It's a little bit of a hodgepodge. I mean, it is a hodgepodge, and we have some horses that have been world champions, and are really, really well bred. We have one that has won the world show in the trail in the Western Riding. We have one that's won the world show and the youth world in the pleasure. and then we have some that are a little more generic, and we also get them at different ages. Like I got one a couple years ago that was 3 years old, a reining horse. They told me, oh well, it turns around slow and it'll change leads and it'll stop about 15 feet, and I would tell you that it turned around really slow. It kind of changed leads if you were going really fast, and it would stop about 5 feet. But you know what? It it was, they said it's lazy. They on a positive note, they said it's lazy, it's great-minded, you never have to lunge it, and that was all absolutely true.
Yeah.
It is a great individual, you know, and um and we brought it along at our speed, and it has made a great addition to our herd. But we have a lot of different breeding because we're not purchasing, we're getting donated.
Right.
They're donated, so we don't really get to choose.
Oh, I can tell you that some of the horses that I appraise, particularly for Brad, I want to take them home. I mean, they are awesome horses.
We
So
we
my
are
next
we are pretty proud of our stock. Like, we do have really really good stock, and they all the judges that come and judge our meets are like, you have like show horses, and I'm like, and they're like, they're fat and they're happy and slick, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm used to, so that's what I want. I want mine to look like show horses and act like show horses.
Yeah.
We love fat horses when they're fat and happy.
Yep.
Yep. But this question kind of pivots a little bit, and it's for both of you, Brad and Sandy. But what's the biggest misconception owners have about their horse's value?
Well, I would say that one of them is that they want to get out of their horse what they put into it. And it's impossible. If you've had your horse for any period of time, what you paid for it is one thing, and what you put into it is another thing. And to try and recoup that, it's not always realistic.
Like a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree with what she said, and that's the absolute truth. And then also, it's kind of like your child. Everybody thinks their child is wonderful and their child is perfect, and I think that every owner thinks that their horse is wonderful and their horse is perfect, and that means that it has, that goes with its value, and you know that doesn't determine value. So
Right. Although the value now is just like I mentioned earlier, is just gone kind of crazy. I mean, we're talking some breeds and disciplines 45% up.
Wow.
Big time. I mean, what I might have appraised a horse a year and a half ago at 45,000 is now 125,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
yeah.
Just,
Well,
I don't know, Brad, if you've seen that or not, but I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I think that you hit on it earlier. Supply and demand. I mean, I was terrible in economics in school. Trust me, I didn't understand it. Like, my professor was not good at it in college, and I mean, the first test of the school year, I made a 56, and I was an A student, so I was like, oh my God, I like freaked out, and then that was a B plus, and I'm like, because the rest of the class. So I'm not great about economics, but I do understand supply and demand. And coming from an owner point of view, like, I don't really train anymore, but I own some that are mine that then we train, and maybe in the hopes of reselling. And from an owner point of view, when you have that really good horse and that really special horse, and you've put that time into it, and whether it's because it's an exceptional individual and it wins, or it's a personal connection, whatever, you don't want to sell that horse, because you want to keep that horse because of the connection, or because it's a winner, whatever. And so in order for you to sell it, someone has to make you an offer on that is above what you would think was reasonable for the horse, because, you know, I'm not selling it unless it's just would be unreasonable to walk away from that number. And that's what I think is what you're seeing is those horses that are really, really good individuals. People don't want to sell them. So in order to buy them, you they have you have to pay more. I mean, it's just like real estate.
Well, and it's time. It's time for people to pay for what the horses are really worth, as far as what the training is involved.
Yes.
It's time that happened.
Absolutely. And I'm sure just like any market, it'll eventually catch itself and even out. But what a conundrum that we're doing this to ourselves.
I know.
Well, I can't tell you both what an honor it's been to have you on and really get into horse appraisals. We do ask our guests the hardest question of the show. We save it for last. And Brad, we'll have you answer first. So we'll give Sandy some time to think about her answer.
Oh, Lord.
But
she answers so well on the spot. Like, I'm...
So this is the tough one. This is the heavy hitting journalism people come to this show for. Brad, could you share your favorite funny quarter horse story, whether it's falling in a ring, a horse that, licks your face every time they see you, just a funny quarter horse story?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay. I'll tell you one of the funniest ones ever, and it really doesn't it involve me. I mean, it kind of involves me, but so we were at the Florida Gold Coast a long time ago, and Diane Eppers was my mother-in-law at the time, and we're still very good friends.
I didn't know. Oh,
Yes. And so she was showing in the pleasure driving, and she had a really nice pleasure driving. And if you know Diane, she always had the most beautiful pleasure driving outfits. And I remember, like, she had this beautiful, like, red, blazer, and like, and red skirt, and then a big hat, and just the most beautiful outfit. And the horse was bay. And um anyway, so they're getting ready to start the class, and one of the other exhibitors had a green horse and had gotten too close, and so they asked for the park gate. And so Diane's like, like, let's go. And like, the horse just stands there, and then she's like, and the horse tries to go, and then the cart bounces up and down. Well, the other person had gotten too close, and the horse had got its, like, the keg of its shoe caught in the wheel, in the spokes of the wheel. So now there's like this big accident getting ready to happen. And so the horse at Diane's horse, like, the thing is bouncing, and Diane's horse gets scared, and it breaks loose and gets on the other side of the shaft. Anyway, the funny part is, so Diane is thrown out of the cart. Okay.
That's not funny.
It had rained the day before,
Oh, no.
so it was muddy. So you ever see those, like, Three Stooges things, or I Love Lucy, where they put the pie in the face? So Diane in the mud, and she gets up, and she's like,
No.
she has to wipe the mud off of her eyes and off of her mouth, because she had face planted. And so head to toe, front of her beautiful outfit in the mud. So then, like, they get the horse, they get it all unhooked and everything. But it was just like, it was like you were watching some TV thing where she had face first and covered head to toe in mud, and just like the whole, like, off of her eyes was hilarious.
I think we need to petition for, when you're at, like, live TV show filming, and the light that says, like, applause, laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I think we need to start having those at horse shows.
Good idea. Yes.
Funny. Very funny.
All right, Sandy, do you have your story ready for us?
Well, let me think. Okay, so back a ways, I was showing a horse in Western Pleasure, His name was, oh gosh, don't remember his registered name. I called him Player. At any rate, I was showing him, and he was doing a fabulous job. It just really connected, collected. I got great passes in front of the judge. I was very happy with my go. A lot of audience there that day. So I came around, I was right in front of the audience, and the judge happened to turn and look to the other side. Just as the judge looked to the other side, my horse stumbled and fell to his knees with both knees. So I picked him back up just in time for the judge to turn back around and look at me and just take that next slope stride. Well, when I fell, the whole audience went, ah, and that caused the judge to look around. Well, he didn't see a thing. I won the class. And as I went out of the class, I literally hung my head and kind of covered my eyes like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have won this class.
Sandy.
Yes.
I feel like the kids would say a win's a win.
A win is a win. Yes.
And it's true, in showbiz, sometimes you don't win when you think you should have, and sometimes you win when you shouldn't have. And so you kind of take what you get. Reminds me, Brad, I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay. Well, I have a story.
Some
I'm gonna jump onto your story real
Yes,
quick though.
please.
But last
So-
time I showed you, Brad, you didn't place me,
Oh.
but I didn't deserve it. I know. But still, wait till you see my new horse next time. When are you judging next and where?
Oh, I nowhere good. I'm not judging
Oh.
anywhere fun or close by, but so
Okay.
I was going to two things. So one, on her story earlier when she fell and she still won. I was judging this weekend, and yesterday my ring steward says, "Are they disqualified?" She's new.
Mm.
Are they disqualified when they two hand? And I'm thinking, obviously, she's asking that because somebody behind me is two handing. And I said, yes, but I can only judge what I see. I can't judge what you see. And so for your story, Miss Andy, obviously the judge didn't see you. So he
Yeah.
could only judge what he saw.
Right.
In reference to what she just said about the last time she showed to me. I was going to tell this at the end, and I didn't want to steal her thunder, but I judged in at a show, and Sandy was there, and and she, um, uh, you know, at one point in the show, she did say, "I'm sorry that my performance was not what I wanted it to be," and which I thought was just very classy for someone to do. And at the end of the show, at the end of the day, before I went home, she came over, and then I think there was one of her friends that came over also, and they thanked me for judging. We so appreciate you coming to the horse show and judging the horse show. And I just thought that was such a class act thing to do that, she had not done as well as she had wanted, but she came over and the other lady, and they thanked me for coming and judging. And I just thought that was such a class act, which that's just her 100% is. And so whether you're hiring her to appraise your horse or whether you're judging her horse at the horse show, she is a class act from 24 hours a day.
Well, thank you. And you deserve that. Thank you. I mean, it's a hard work.
And we thank you guys so much for being here. I mean, this has been such a great episode. And Sandy, we wish you luck at the Pinto World Show this week.
Thank you.
Go kick some butt.
I will. I'll try anyway.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Quarter Horse podcast on Horses in the Morning. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends all about the world's favorite breed of horse.